You think you know them, the horned helmets, the blood, the rage, the burning villages. Hollywood gave you a version of the Vikings, brutal, savage, unstoppable. But here is what Hollywood never showed you. These same men who terrorized Europe were also explorers who reached America 500 years before Columbus. Poets who composed literature of breathtaking beauty, traders who built roads connecting Norway to Baghdad. The Vikings were not just warriors, they were the most extraordinary civilization of the medieval world, and this is their real story. The word Viking doesn't mean warrior, it doesn't mean savage. In Old Norse, the word Viking simply means a person who goes on a journey. That's it, a traveler. The Vikings came from Scandinavia, modern-day Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. They lived in a land of brutal winters, rocky soil, and endless coastline, and that coastline shaped everything. Because when you can't grow enough food, you look to the sea. By the 8th century, the Vikings had built the most advanced ships the world had ever seen. Long, narrow, and devastatingly fast, their longships could cross the open Atlantic Ocean and sail up shallow rivers at the same time. No other civilization on Earth had anything like them, and so they sailed, first to raid, then to trade, then to settle, and in doing so, they changed the world forever. Yes, the Vikings were fearsome warriors. Let's not pretend otherwise. When they attacked the monastery of Lindisfarne in 793 AD, they shocked all of Christian Europe. Monks who had never known violence suddenly found themselves facing men who seemed to fear nothing, not death, not God, not any earthly power. The most elite Viking warriors were called berserkers. They worked themselves into a trance-like state of pure rage before battle, so terrifying that the English word berserk comes directly from them. Chronicles from the time describe them as men who fought like wild animals, feeling no pain, showing no mercy. But here is what most people miss. Viking raids were not random violence. They were precision military operations, carefully planned, surgically executed, and always aimed at the wealthiest targets. The Vikings were not savage, they were strategic. But the Vikings were so much more than raiders. They were the greatest explorers the medieval world had ever produced. Eric the Red, exiled from Iceland for murder, sailed west into the unknown and discovered Greenland. His son, Leif Erikson, went even further. Around 1000 AD, almost 500 years before Christopher Columbus set foot in the Bahamas, a Viking stood on the shores of North America. We know this because archaeologists found their settlement, Lonso Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada. Real buildings, real artifacts, real proof. Columbus discovered America. The Vikings were already there and had been for 5 centuries, but their exploration didn't stop there. Swedish Vikings, called the Varangians, traveled east down the rivers of Russia, all the way to Constantinople and Baghdad. They traded with the Byzantine Empire, the Arab Caliphate, and the Persian kingdoms. Viking silver has been found as far away as Uzbekistan. These were not isolated barbarians, they were global traders. Here is the side of the Vikings that never makes it into the movies. They were poets, Viking skalds, professional poets, composed complex verses called sagas that described battles, gods, love, and loss with extraordinary sophistication. These weren't simple war chants, they were literary masterpieces, and many survive to this day. They were lawmakers. The Viking thing, their parliament, was one of the earliest democratic assemblies in human history. Free men gathered to make decisions, settle disputes, and elect leaders. Iceland's Althing, established in 930 AD, is considered the world's oldest parliament still in existence. They were also remarkably clean. Arab travelers who met Vikings were shocked by how often they bathed, every Saturday, without fail. In medieval Europe, where bathing was considered dangerous, the Vikings were washing their hair and combing their beards. And those famous horned helmets? Completely fictional. Not a single Viking helmet with horns has ever been found. The image was invented by a 19th century costume designer for an opera. The Viking Age lasted roughly 300 years, from 793 to 1066 AD, and it didn't end with a great battle or a catastrophic defeat. It ended because the Vikings succeeded. They settled in Normandy and became the Normans. They settled in England, Ireland, Russia, and Sicily and became part of those cultures. They converted to Christianity, and their wild, restless energy was slowly absorbed into the medieval world around them. The last great Viking raid was in 1066, the same year William the Conqueror, himself a descendant of Vikings, invaded England and changed history forever. The warriors laid down their axes, but the explorers, the poets, the lawmakers, their legacy never died. The Vikings were not the monsters Hollywood made them. They were complicated, brilliant, terrifying, and deeply human. They reached the edges of the known world and then went beyond. They wrote poetry and built parliaments and sailed to continents nobody else had found. They were, in every sense of the word, extraordinary. If this story moved you, hit subscribe. Because next week we go inside the world of the Mongols, the most feared empire in human history. The men who conquered from China to Europe in a single lifetime. You will not believe what we found. See you next week.